My guest on the show today is Kelley Thornton. Kelley is the founder and CEO of Tiege Hanley. It's a skincare line for men. So when I had this request come in, I said, skincare for men? Yes, please. Kelley, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. And your skin looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. If only people who don't know me, you have to go to my website to see a picture. I do take good care of my skin. I was telling Kelley that both my wife, wasn't telling you this. My wife is Norwegian, half Norwegian, which Norwegians generally have really good skin. And I'm from Minnesota. So we don't get blasted by the sun all the time, but we do get blasted by the cold if you don't put on skincare. But I'm a skincare person. So thank you so much for the compliment, Kelley. Your skin looks great amazing too.
I don't know why it seems so crazy for a man to say to another man, you look amazing. But I think that's okay. And you do look amazing, and you obviously take care of your skin. And it's an homage to Tiege Hanley and to guys out there that are interested in taking care of their skin.
Yeah, why not? Why would you not want to take care of your skin? Which we are going to talk about today. So, Kelley, let's get right into it. So, first up, what's something that you nerd out about?
Something to nerd out about. I don't know if I can give you more than one answer. I've got a couple. I think I'm going to go with this one. I might give you two or three. I'm going to say one. I'll give you a simple one first. I nerd out about simplicity. I really like the concept of simplifying my life, and I think we live very complicated lives, and we do it to ourselves. So I really like the idea of simplicity. Been on that track for the last 4 years, and so I like that. And I think you can declutter your life is really helpful.
Kelley, I wanted to ask you, before you go further, I want to ask you a follow-up on that. As somebody who who's the founder and CEO of a company, obviously you've done other things in your career. Has that always been the case for you? Because I also am in that process, and I didn't used to be that way at all in my younger days.
Yep. Yeah, probably not. I probably it's probably only the last 5 or so years. And it's probably the culmination of several things for me. Early on in my life, my mother was really into like antiques and knickknacks and stuff like that. And I never really gravitated towards that. I always felt like that was too rear view mirror looking and not enough future looking. But I think certainly having children, businesses, a lot of stuff going on in my life, and then pandemic, right? And all of this baggage that we've been carrying around. So I think that's kind of amplified it for me, just the desire to kind of have less clutter in my life. So simplifying would be something I'm really nerding out about right now. I also like the idea of understanding people's struggle. I'm really kind of into that right now. And excuse me, really just kind of understanding the struggles of people and trying to be empathetic and be a good listener when you hear about what's going on in people's lives. I think, the most interesting people out there, and you probably know this more than anybody, are those people that have really been through a lot and have a lot of wisdom, a lot of experiences and things. So really trying to understand people's struggle is something that I've been nerding out about. And it's hard and it's interesting. Yeah.
Also a great skill as a leader to understand that there's generally more going on to people than maybe what they present as an employee or something. But I think what you were saying is, it's one thing the pandemic taught a lot of people is that, man, you got to pay attention to the whole of the human, not just the output or what's the next metric, because there's just so much going on. Thanks. Very cool. So we're going to talk about comfort zones now. That's where I get to know you a little bit further. So Kelley, what's something that is inside of your comfort zone, and you know that same thing is going to be outside of somebody else's comfort zone?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a layup for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are really good at dealing with being very acceptable of stress and of how much they're willing to, how much they're willing to, struggle and be flexible and pliable And a lot of other people don't like change in their lives, and they don't like stress, and they don't like risk. And so for entrepreneurs, we're really good at being able to handle risk. And I think, that's risk and change are really hard things for people. So I'm really good at that. But I think that's something that anybody can, develop a skill around. I mean, not everybody, but I think any person can develop a bit of a skill around having more tolerance towards risk in their lives and being able to be more flexible and willing to accept change a little bit more in their lives.
Yeah, no, I agree, Kelley. One of the things with risk and change, I think it's also one of the things as people you have to experience to get better at. Nobody can you can't be taught. You're like, hey, here's my course on how to be more how to like accept more risk, or how to be more, these things. Like, you actually have to go through it and then realize you can come out on the other side and have it be better. It's kind of like parenting in a way. Nobody can really teach you to be a parent. It's all like, you're a parent, I'm a parent. Like, we could all read books, but at the end of the day, like, when those kids pop out, they're going to be their own little things. It's kind of like the businesses, right? You're going to create this business. It's going to be its own unique thing that's never been seen before. And there are best practices. Then there's also things that are going to come up that are going to be very unique. So I agree with you. And I do agree that it is a skill. Like, the way I see risk and change is, some people like naturally gravitate towards it because that's just their personality. Yeah. Some people will never go towards it just because, for whatever reason. And there's people in the middle where you can build a skill towards that. And then that it's the experience. So another thing.
I think some of us entrepreneurs take it a bit I know I do take it a bit for granted, because we assume, we're used to, especially if we've been at it for a while, a lot of risk, like super high risk profile. I remember 10 years ago, it'd be like the 30th day of the month, and I would need to pay everybody tomorrow, and I wasn't sure if I could make payroll. And it was like month after month after month. It was like that. And, most people, like, so you get kind of like stretched in how much risk you're willing to tolerate, based on your experiences as an entrepreneur. And I think we entrepreneurs tend to take it for granted that people are likewise, can stomach a lot of risk. But the fact of the matter is that most people can't take any, very risk adverse. So I think, I need to be mindful that other people, what I think is not very risky at all, is, scare people to death just thinking about it.
Yeah. So, Kelley, let's look at the other side of that question. Now, something that is outside of your comfort zone. And
right.
I see you're laughing already. Something that is outside of your comfort zone that is going to be inside of somebody else's.
God, how can I say this with humility? I'm not sure what that really is. I'm probably not, the only thing that's outside my comfort zone at this point is anything that's going to put my life in danger. I think
that's good.
I'm probably not that interested anymore in jumping out of airplanes, or, proving to my kids that I can jump off of a 40-foot cliff into, the Mediterranean Ocean. I mean, I think all that stuff is a little bit behind me, but, I don't know about being out of my comfort zone. There's not really much that I wouldn't be interested in doing. I actually find, a lot of things that people don't like to do fairly challenging. I love, speaking in front of people. Preparing speeches. I love preparing for meetings, being in front of people. So there's not a lot that's kind of outside my comfort zone.
Yeah. What if I would have asked you 20 years ago? In other words, if I was going to phrase that question a different way, what's something that 20 years ago, Kelley would have been like, oh, hell no. And you've, through experience or practice, have moved it into your comfort zone.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I think a lot of the things that I'm doing in business today, I probably wouldn't have done years ago, which is actually, I think, the reverse of how you kind of think about entrepreneurs. I actually think about this a lot, Jason, is that I'm an older entrepreneur. So I'm in my 50s. And I've been at it for a while, but, entrepreneurship is kind of a young person's game, right? You start your business when you're young, maybe just after you've been married or, before you have children and your risk profile is, but there are definitely things that I wouldn't do that would be way outside my comfort zone 10 years ago. That I probably wouldn't have been out of my comfort zone 10 years ago that probably are today. Just, decisions around how you in business, how you hire people, how you fire people, how you train people, what things you invest in and what things you don't invest in. Probably outside my comfort zone today that would have been inside my comfort zone, 10 years ago. Perhaps it's just ignorance is bliss. I don't really know.
There you go. That's good. Well, yeah, ignorance can be bliss. All right. Thanks, Kelley. Let's, you mentioned speaking. So if I was to give you 5 minutes and you would give a speech to the entire world and we'd all hear it, all 7 billion or 8 billion, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What is it that you would speak on? And at the end of your 5 minutes, what would you want us to do?
Yeah. So I've got 30 seconds to prepare for the speech to the whole world.
That's it. No pressure at all. No pressure.
Yeah. I think I would, if I had 5 minutes, I could speak to everybody in the world. I would think I would speak on, what I think is the meaning of life and how people need to think about their lives and how short people's lives really are. It's easy for us older, guys to really think about this, but life is like a blip. I mean, it's just a so short period of time. And, so the question is how do you maximize your time in a way that, is meaningful, not just to yourself personally in your career, but to other people in your life, hopefully to your family, hopefully to your children, hopefully to your parents and people you love. But how do you help other people in the world maximize the way they think about their lives and, and contribute in some sort of positive way in this very small blip of time that you have. And when my clock is punched, will anybody at all remember anything that I do will have touched anybody's lives? How many men? This is what we think about here at Tiege, and the purpose of the company is like trying to help as many men as we can look and feel amazing. So I think I would speak something about that and the importance of living a good life and what that may or may not look like.
Yeah. Obviously, always a very important message. Very important message. All right, Kelley, we're going to take a brief commercial break. We'll be right back after this. Hi, all. I hope you've been enjoying my conversation so far with Kelley Thornton, the incredible CEO and founder of Tiege Hanley. As a man who takes his skincare seriously, especially with a history of skin disease in the family, I'm proud to be a Tiege customer and fan. Tiege makes it easy to take just a couple of minutes per day, take care of my skin, and I don't even need to think about it. I highly recommend Tiege, and if you'd like to check it out for yourself or order products for your loved ones, use the promo code TalkingToCoolPeople at Tiege.com, Tiege.com, or check out the show notes and click the link there. And now, back to the show. And Kelley, we are back. So now I have a nice, very open-ended question for you. Even more open-ended than the other ones so far.
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. What do you want us to know about you?
I think I do. I'm a very focused, driven person, but I am really interested in what good that I can do to society, and I'm constantly thinking about just beyond what I'm working on right now from a professional standpoint. Constantly thinking about what role. Actually, the answer to the question I just had a few minutes ago, like what role should I be playing, beyond what I'm doing exactly today to try to help other people. And what does that look like? I mean, it's kind of interesting because, like the normal things that you hear about going on today, I'm not as, incredibly drawn to, I'm concerned about the environment, but I'm not as incredibly drawn to feeling like I need to try to save the planet. And, I'm just more interested in, in people and seeing how, seeing how I can impact people's lives, even in small ways. So that's something I think I'm figuring out how to work on that. And beyond that, I'm really concerned about helping my family, and helping my children and family grow up and be the best contributors to society they can be. So it sounds kind of altruistic, but that's what I feel.
Yeah. I was thinking about, what I wanted to ask you around this. And so I was going to ask you, why skincare?
Yeah, skincare, because I'm really, I feel like men have been, kind of neglected in terms of the whole. Yeah, I have a long background in personal care products, and from beauty to shampoo and deodorants and all this stuff. I have a lot of experience working in this space, and I just feel like men have been very, very neglected. Like the way that we're marketed to. The way products are made for men, and really, I think thematically, like women engage in this category because it does make them feel better about themselves, and they know, like there's like a little secret amongst women that they don't tell men, that if you actually take care of yourself, you do look better, and you look better over time, and you prevent skin cancer and all these other things that men are just seem to be oblivious to. So. I really thought there was an opportunity to help guys like understand this category. And I don't think it was done correctly. Just like a big picture of Brad Pitt with his shirt off is not going to get me to buy, skincare. I mean, it's just not working for me. And that's, I think, how men have been marketed to in personal care. Either that or like some funny thing, like, some sort of comic, the best man can get or something like that, which I don't know how many people connect with that. So I just thought there was a great opportunity to look better and to help men, engage in something that really could make a difference in their lives. Simple thing.
Yeah. Well, so as you brought it up, I want to take us down this path for a few minutes. Yeah. For all the men listening, because Tiege Hanley is specifically men's skincare. So we're talking to men now. Right. What do we need to know about skincare that you think that we might not know? Because you said the way it's been marketed, and I see marketing as also education. So what do you know from being in this space and being the CEO of a company in this space that Jason wouldn't know, or anybody else out there listening, that you think we should know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, two simple things. One is if you embark in a very simple skincare routine, you'll notice a difference. Like your skin will be better, you'll look better, and you will feel better, right? It's like, someone saying, Hey, Jason, you really do look amazing. So I think that, that thing of just actually, it will actually have an impact, period, on your life. And then secondly, it really is, it's not difficult. It's not challenging. I think like when guys think about skincare, and I mean this in a very lovingly way towards my wife, but it's like, on Saturday night, Friday night, Saturday night, when we have some plans done, I'm downstairs and it's like quarter of the hour and we've got to meet our friends in 15 minutes for dinner. It's like 5 of the hour. It's, it's past the hour. And my wife is upstairs still getting ready. I'm downstairs. I'm probably having a cocktail or a beer waiting. Right. And you just like, what is taking so long? Like, this is just crazy. Like, I just don't understand this. And so we have this kind of like, we're kind of like pre-programmed to think that like taking care of yourself takes forever. And so the message is for guys, number one is that it will help a lot. It will help your skin. And secondly, it should only take like 2 minutes, minutes for a man. So you brush your teeth, in the morning, you wash your face with a great face wash, and you put on a moisturizer, hopefully with SPF, even if you live in Minnesota. That's it. Like, you can do it. And it'll make a huge difference. Like a high quality face wash, whether it's ours or another brand, and a high quality daily moisturizer, preferably with an SPF, will make a big difference in your life. And it literally takes you 2 minutes. Brush your teeth, wash your face, put on a moisturizer, get out the door. So those two things, man, it makes a difference, and it's simple.
Yeah. Which I was speaking for a lot of men, we like it simple. I know that I like it simple. Like you're talking about simplicity, like just tell me what to do and make it really easy for me, and I'm going to do it. If it's too complex, because I don't know how it is for your wife. My wife loves skincare, and I look at her shelf of stuff, and I go, how do you know what to use? There's like a bunch of different things, and there's night stuff and day stuff, and I don't even know. I like crazy. Gloss over. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, I mean, and that is like that was my early experience into this. I was actually spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, and I would go into like a department store over there, and like kind of the equivalent of like a Macy's or Nordstrom, and I'd go in and like skincare for men over there is like massive, especially in like Korea and Japan, and I would go into like so many products. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, what man knows this stuff? It's like there's no way. I mean, this is a guy does not need 100 product. I mean, we have like 6 main products in our portfolio, and I mean, I think at times that might be too much. We have a face mask actually, Jason. That is one of our best selling. It's our best selling non-core. When I say non-core, like our moisturizers and our face washes are our core items, but it's our best-selling non-core item. It's an amazing item, but you don't need like 100 different items, guys. If you're listening, just start with a great face wash and a great moisturizer, whether or not it's ours or somebody else's, and you'll be more than halfway on your way to having great skin.
Yeah, thanks, Kelley. All right, let's pause on me battering you with questions and have you ask me something. So what would you like to ask me that I can answer for you and for everybody listening?
How do people's experience with being an athlete or playing sports, like we've all done it, whether or not we only did it for, 6th grade and 7th grade and 8th grade, how does sports help prepare people for solid professional careers?
Mm-hmm.
And again, we can even think about not just the little kids, but people that play sports in high school, and then for sure those college people that play in college, because it takes an incredible commitment once you get into high school. Even how do you think that plays into people's professional careers?
Yep. Oh, great question. Number one, the idea that there's always more to improve upon, like that there's no such thing as perfection in athletics. There can be the perfect golf shot, or there can be the perfect home run. Well, in baseball, there actually is a thing called the perfect game, which is, I think it's the only sport that has a thing that's called the perfect something, but there's no such thing as perfection, right? Like in all sports, you don't, like, if you look at the statistics in like a quarterback, if they complete 65% of their passes, that's considered generally a good day for quarterbacks. Baseball, we know if you hit 300, you're an all-star. Golf, if you make par and a little bit below par, you're basically a professional golfer. So the idea that there's always more to do in terms of bettering your craft, and the only way to do it is actually by practicing. So I think like this is a fallacy when I work with people younger in their career. Sometimes they think that like they need to have it all figured out. But the truth is it's always like the next thing. And I'm sure you've hired plenty of people like they're like, and you hire for technical skills, but there's always the next level. So that's number one. And working together. And even when you're in an individual sport, and I played tennis in high school, even though you're on the court by yourself, or if you're a golfer, for example, you're out there, but you're still on a team. And that's what I like about high school, at least high school sports in Minnesota. It's probably the same in Illinois where you are, is that it's always a team sport, even if you're an individual performer. And just the idea that you don't in anywhere win or lose alone. And I think that's a very, very interesting lesson to learn early as you go out and be an entrepreneur. Even when you're a solo entrepreneur, you still don't win or lose alone, because you need people to help you. And maybe they're not a full-time employee, but they might be friends. They might be a coach. They might be a mentor. They might be your spouse, consultants that you hire to do things. But the idea of like doing it alone is not good. And actually you shouldn't do it alone. So when we go back to team sports, I love the idea that you don't have to be good at all 5 positions on the court. I mean, there's a few players I think you could say maybe like LeBron can maybe play all 5 spots, but most players can't, and that's actually a good thing because they can be really good at the thing you need them to do. And so just and then I hate to say it because I have young children. I have a almost 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, but the truth is there are winners and there are losers out in the business world every single day, especially when you're selling something, which every business is selling something. Otherwise it wouldn't be a business, is that there are going to be a binary wins and losses that happen to you. And then what do you learn from them? And what do you take from them? And when do you go back into the, if we're talking sports, let's take football. Okay, so like that last game, we didn't execute our coverage well. How do we make that change for best for next time? And I say for business owners like you and I, okay, last quarter our sales are down. What do we need to look at in the playbook to maybe change that? Do we need to change anything, or was it the like market conditions and all those things? So just all sorts of great analogies with athletics and business, in my opinion. Although I would say the winning and losing, the one thing I will say really quick, the winning and losing in business can be, sometimes you need to lose because there's actually a bigger win available by losing. And you probably know this very well from somebody working in a category that's, you go into retail and you get your butt kicked on margin, but you need it out there versus, no, I'm actually going to stay e-com and own my own margins. I'm going to own my own distribution. And that's going to feel like like we didn't get the deal with Macy's or whatever it is. But in return, you don't get your butt kicked in terms of procurement, and we need it for this price, and we're making pennies on the dollar. So, yeah. So sorry, Kelley, I interrupted you there. You had a second part.
That's a phenomenal answer. I really love it.
Thanks.
Can you tell me, if you were hiring at companies, how would you think about someone's experience in sports when you consider their employment? I mean, you mentioned great attributes of athletics, and the thinking about teamwork is just, I think that is probably the number one thing when you think about teamwork and competing together and winning and losing. There's great correlation between sports and business. Would you hire people that have sports backgrounds?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't be necessarily biased towards it, although I would say when I didn't work for myself, I worked in sales. I did work with a few for former college and professional athletes. They do well in sales because of the high level of drive and energy that it takes to be an athlete at that level. And the other thing they understand is they understand rigor, like the attention to just showing up, being able to go through. And also the other thing that athletes know how to do is they know how to take care of themselves. Back to your point about doing it. And like a lot of that isn't really something that you're taught unless you're in athletics, where you're like, oh wait, you're a high performing athlete in college. Hey, after practice, you're going to go get a massage, and you're going to go sit in the ice tub, or you're going to sit in the spa, and then we're going to stretch you out. If you're not in athletics, nobody's like, hey, Kelley, how after that long rigorous day of tests today, what are you going to do to take care of yourself? Nobody asked that question.
No.
And so we end up taking care of ourselves, and at least for me in college, in some other ways that were fun, but maybe not so good for your body. So, but yeah, I think I wouldn't be biased towards like athletes are the only way. I'm more interested in what did they learn that they could take into whatever role I'm hiring them for.
Yeah, definitely. Just thinking about this out here, hearing you talk. I mean, I definitely think perseverance is a characteristic of athletes, especially at high level. High school, I would even include high school and college. And for certain positions in business, perseverance is, I think for a lot of positions, it is a very good characteristic to have. Yeah,
great question. Nobody's ever asked me that, and this is like episode 150 some. So thank you. I love getting.
Got it.
I'm always wondering if people are going to run out of new questions. Ask me because this is obviously not planned, and it hasn't happened. So I'm really excited to see where this goes in the future.
So I did read that question back to you correctly, the way you gave it to me.
Ah, damn it!
Just kidding. All right.
Send me your Venmo,
original
Kelley.
question.
Send me your Venmo. I'll pay
you. Crushed that answer.
This whole thing is a setup. It's all one big setup. We've been rehearsing this for weeks.
You do have coach on your bio in LinkedIn, so I figured I'd land a sports question to you.
I love it. Yeah, thanks. All right, Kelley, let's talk about. Let me ask you, what are you passionate about?
What kind of answer do you want there? I mean, I'm passionate about business. Like I go home and my family is like totally up on current events. They know like the name of the person that just won the dancing contest and the dating contest on TV, and they know like everything that's going on. And I don't know any of it. Like it's embarrassing. I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like I don't know anything that they're talking about. But when it comes to kind of business stuff, like I do geek out on that. And I'm really passionate about that kind of thing. Personally, I don't know. I've had a long journey about understanding wine. I do really enjoy, a very long journey. So I do really enjoy, learn. I think I mentioned earlier that my parents, my mother was really into like antiques and collecting and stuff. And I think there's something about that. I have like a really great memory of, wine producers and different grapes from different regions. And I'm really interested in all of that. And I think my wife's an incredible cook. So like trying to understand wine and food, I really enjoyed that over a long period of time. I'm not geeky about it though. I just like, I don't care about a price tag or a specific producer. I just really enjoy, experiencing different things and learning about it and having an occasion. I would, if you and I were to happen to have a chance to break bread together, I would for sure remember, what wine we drank 5 years from now. Yeah. Just kind of have that memory for that stuff. So I really enjoy that. I enjoy spending time with my kids.
Yeah. I'd say, if you're interested, I had Chris Levy, who's a friend of mine. He was on the podcast probably a year and a half ago. He's a wine person. So that's what he does for a living now. He's a wine consultant. He has a wine podcast. It's great. And I had him do an event for a virtual event with my clients where we did some like a virtual tasting. It was really good. It's something that I enjoy, but I know almost nothing about. So when I get with people that know wine, I'm just like, how do you know all these things? Like they're like, here's the different things and here's where the grapes are from. I'm just like, I like the taste of it. Tastes good.
That's good enough. Yeah. I mean, if you know what you like and don't like, that's like 3/4 of the battle. The rest of it just takes a long time. You don't just like learn it. It's, you just stick with it for years and you'll eventually start, drinking it in.
Drinking it in. I like that. Kelley, what's the thing that you're most proud of?
Well, I'm going to get in the weeds here with a specific answer. Our business, Tiege Hanley, one of my partners is Aaron Marino, and Aaron Marino is a men's grooming expert. And he's been on Shark Tank several times and, written up in every magazine related to men's fitness, men's health, GQ, and has had style businesses and has a hair care business. And he has a massive YouTube following. And he really was kind of the catalyst for driving the initial sales at our company. And he has been just a phenomenal partner, him and my other business partner, Rob Hoxie, who's very technical business guy. They've been phenomenal partners. And I think the fact that I've been in partnership with these guys for 7 years in business partnership and that we've had very successful business relationship, which I think is extremely difficult to have, 2 or 3 business partners that you actually really get along with and like. Yeah. And we've had many of struggles and many of things that we've agreed upon, but I'm very proud that we've had a very successful business partnership. And Aaron, and the reason why I mentioned him is, he's almost like a famous guy. He's had well over 1 billion video views on YouTube. Wow. So everywhere we go, he's people stop him every single time I'm with him.
Oh
every
yeah.
single time. People say, can I get an autograph? Can I get this? Can I get that? And, being able to learn, I had no idea what, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, like the entertainment industry and everything, I had no interest in just being able to have a very successful partnership with someone like him and the value that he brings to our organization, and my other partner, Rob, and, really spending time together, has been made me incredibly proud, and to have a successful company. Actually, if I could toss one more thing in there, Jason,
Please.
we've never raised money.
Nice.
We've grown this business to, just sub $20 million, and we've got a long way to go, and we've never raised any capital. So we've had to actually do it the old fashioned way and make money, which is in the DTC business.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Who would think that making money is like an important thing, but we do. And so we've been able to grow this business and sustain it through both a great partnership with my business partners and making money. So I'm sorry for the long answer, but I'm really proud.
No, it's great. My guess is, based on those numbers you just threw out, that you've been offered money.
We have, yeah. The market hasn't looked that good in the past year or so.
Sure.
And rightfully so. But I just think we see a path to take this company to more than double the size it is right now. And I think as long as we think and feel confident that we can continue to grow the business, we're going to do that. We're going to focus on what we do best and help as many men as we can think about taking care of their skin and giving them simplified skincare systems. And as long as we can do that and be connecting with our customer, we're going to stick with it.
Yeah, love that. All right, Kelley, what's something that you're afraid that might actually be true about you?
Something that I'm afraid of that might actually be true. Well, I don't know if I'm afraid of death, but that's definitely true. I'm going to die at some point. What might be afraid of that might be true about me? I don't know. I'm going to call a lifeline there. I would need to call my wife and ask her. So let's punt on that one.
Yeah. We'll have your wife come back on for a supplemental interview. So, honey, I don't know your name, but we have a question for you. And she'll be like, and if she's anything like my wife, she'll be like, well, here's the 5 or 10 or 20 things, Kelley, that you're not aware of that I'm very aware of for you. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. That's good. Let's go back, since we have a little bit of time. Let's go back to Tiege here and talk about what are your plans for doubling the business? Like, at high level, obviously. Don't give us your strategic plan, but like at a high level, how are you going to double the business?
Yeah, well, I think like this, the concept of men taking care of themselves, it's kind of interesting, right? I mean, I think the whole conversation around what it means to be a man today is kind of an interesting thing, because I don't want to get too far out of our wheelhouse. Our wheelhouse is very much about self-care. It's really about like going to the gym, eating right, sleeping, drinking right, putting the right, moisturizer on your face. That's kind of like, that's our spot. Yeah. But generally speaking, like this concept of what it means to be a man today, what is a modern male? I think these are interesting topics because, so much of what you hear about today is, he, she, my pronouns. I can be a man, I can be a woman, I can, it's the century of women and everything else. And I support all of that. I don't have an issue with, the things that women are trying to accomplish in their careers and education. And I 150% support all that. But then you have to turn back and look at like, okay, well, what roles do men play in this changing, kind of environment that we live in? And so I think like, I think this is a challenge. This is a difficult question for guys to really think about. Like, what is a modern male? Like, is it okay to stay at home and have your, wife be the breadwinner and you take care of the children? Is it okay not to have children? Is it okay not to be married? Is it, like how do guys deal with all of these things? And so we're just part of, being part of that conversation, I think is pretty interesting. And so so to answer your question about how do we double, I think like being part of the overarching conversation about how men take care of themselves and Tiege Hanley be part of that conversation is a way that, will help us really continue to grow the business. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but we don't want to be part of this movement of self-care and guys just thinking about themselves and taking care of themselves.
Yeah. Well, I think what I heard there from a business perspective, Kelley, is the answer is to increase your total addressable market by educating people that this matters, so that, and I'm making up numbers here, let's say that there's in America, there's like 350 million, something like that, 325.
Yep.
Like about, it's like 49, I think it's 49% men. So if you take like the people who can buy skincare that are men, they're going to care. It's probably like, I would say 20 to 25% of all men with the dollars to do it care. It's like, if you increase that by 1%, that is a lot of people that is a lot of additional potential customers.
Massive.
And just, right? Yeah, massive. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, how many of these guys are thinking about taking care of themselves? I mean, again, self-care, right? Like people want to live longer. They want to eat right, be healthy. All these things are really important and they're not going to go away. So, where do we fit in? Like, just basic skincare, like hygiene, and actually coming out of COVID, people are thinking about hygiene more. So, I think like it all comes down in one fancy word. It all comes down to marketing and education. We really need to be good at marketing and connecting our brand to consumers.
Yeah. I always find cosmetics, skincare to be such an interesting industry because, like you said, you can walk into a Macy's or a Bloomingdale's and you're inundated, but then you think about who the target market is. Number one, can you afford it? And number two, do you have skin?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Do you have the dollars to pay for it? Do you have skin? Well, and so it's just such a massive market to go after at the same time. Room for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I'm gonna when we're done, I want to play for you. I would love to do it for your entire audience, but I can't.
Please, yeah.
I'm gonna play for you a call that we made yesterday to one of our customers who's been with us for 4 years, and just to give you an idea of what type of guys that are out there that are thinking about their skin. It's not. And we're not the cheapest, game in town. I mean, if you want to buy, inexpensive, decent quality products, you got to buy like Dove, right? I mean, and sure. They make good products. The products are, aren't nearly as ingredient packed and as good as our products, but when we charge for premium for it. But there's a lot of guys out there that are engaged in this category that don't have a ton of money. And Joel yesterday, called us up and said he couldn't afford, his skincare this month. And like I said, I'll play an audio of how we handled that call when we hang up here. But but there's everybody, it doesn't matter your social economic. I mean, you do want to look as good as you can and you want to feel as good as you can. There's just something inherently, driven by men that they should be taking care of themselves. And by the way, just for a plug of self-care, I mean, you got to go to the doctors every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like,
oh God.
And if you're out there listening, I don't know, what percentage of your audience, but you got to get to the doctors as much as, as it sucks. You got to go do it. And at least, every 18 months, if not every year, and you got to get some sleep. Us guys, we don't sleep at all. Especially someone like you, Jason, has young kids. You probably, you're lucky if you get 5-6 hours of sleep, and you actually have to work at it. So like these type of things, you got to think about. If you're a guy, you got to think about these things: eating right, getting enough sleep, going to the doctors as much as it sucks. Again, working out a couple days a week, using a moisturizer, protect against, especially like you were mentioning, you're a tennis player, like you got to put, sunblock on. Melanoma is so prevalent on men. It's the number one cancer of all, and it's the most common in men. It's also the most curable. So, these things, like if we could just get out of the Neanderthal days of being, gorilla-like men and just take care of ourselves a little bit. And I'm accusing myself of that.
Sure.
We'd be much better for it.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap up here, Kelley, and let's talk about where people can find out more, where they can connect. I think we've got a special link for the audience. We're going to put that in the show notes. We don't need to read that out.
Yeah.
If you're interested in checking out, there's a special link there. But talk to us about where Tiege Hanley is found and anything else you'd want to know about them or about you and all the good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'll start and be true to what I said earlier. If you're interested, if you're a business person and men or women, and you're interested in, if there's anything I can do to help you out in any way, I'd be more than happy to take a call. And you can reach me at LinkedIn, Kelley Thornton at LinkedIn. Pretty easy to find there. So if anybody needs help in any way, please reach out to me. I'll do my best to get back to you. If you're a salesperson, I love salespeople,
something good to sell.
but that offer is not available to you. And secondly, I would go to Tiege.com, Tiege, Tiege.com. We're super easy to find. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of consumer reviews. I think there's at least 7,000 on our website. There's probably another couple thousand you can find in other places. You can find us on Amazon if you want. So, and we ship to pretty much every country in the world, except a few very hard to get places that's somewhat corrupt. But if you're interested in skincare from Tiege Hanley, you go to Tiege.com, and we would love to have you as a customer. It'd mean a lot to us.
Yeah, we'll throw that on the page as well, and please use the link as well, the special link. All right, Kelley, this is so fun. Yeah, so fun to get to know you and get to know you as a business person, get to know what Tiege is up to. Love to have you come back on and talk more about this. I've got to focus on some health things next year in this podcast. So I'd love to have you come on, talk some skin, and love if you leave us with some short and sweet words of wisdom.
Don't take yourself too seriously. Start working hard as soon as you possibly can. I think success is about 75% hard work, probably about 15% honesty, and the rest of it is just a dogfight. So, so get started, work hard, be honest, and duke it out, and be persistent. Follow your dreams. Thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Kelley, thank you for being on. Really a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Talking to Cool People with Jason Frizzell. If you enjoyed today's episode, please tell your friends. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and give us a shout out, or take a moment to leave a review on iTunes. If something from today's episode piqued your interest and you'd like to connect, email us at podcast@jasonfrizzell.com. We love hearing from our listeners because you're cool people too.